In the Dad's DeFi space, I'm Kevin, and I'm so grateful you have taken a moment out of your day to spend it with me, your guide to all things crypto and DeFi. I am in the Christmas spirit today, and we are going to put on some tunes. We're going to hopefully get started. And remember, none of this is financial advice. I am not a financial advisor. Please do your own research. Never invest more than you can afford to lose. But let's get right to it today. Look, as stocks flirt with all-time highs, commodities, gold, silver, and the like are going parabolic. And crypto has been in a downtrend and now is trading in a tight range. What truly is going on beneath the surface? What is truly going on beneath the surface? Perfect. As stocks have been flirting with all-time highs, crypto has been in a massive downtrend and trading now within a tight range. What's really going on beneath the surface? We're going to talk today about the Fed's next moves, Bitcoin's war zone of resistance, Ethereum's ongoing struggle, and look, this December almost Christmas update is going to give you the unfiltered, macro-informed view every smart crypto trader or Zora user needs. Now, please stick around to the end of the stream on our thesis, and we're going to look at some altcoin charts, and we're also going to dive into some Zora alpha. But for the people out there in YouTube land, please like and subscribe and help share this content with anyone who will benefit. Now, before we get started, I want to talk a little bit about my macro thesis and the market sentiment, just generally speaking right now. Look, the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ right now, and I know this is a crypto channel, but we are also talking about what affects our space, and the stock market does affect our space, but the S&P and NASDAQ are near all-time highs. Look, even though it seems so bullish in that respect, fear still exists in the market. And we'll look at the fear and greed index in just a minute. Now, why is there so much fear in the market? Well, first, Fed rates. Yes, they raised the rates for December, but if you check the Fed watch, a lot of people think we may not have a rate cut in January, less than 25% if you look at rates. The BOJ hike likely will be around 0.5 to 0.75, but we don't know. And if the rates don't raise in January, the market is probably going to react negatively to this. Now, there's also AI bubble fears, right? The Magnificent Seven, along with many projects within the crypto space, those businesses within the S&P 500 are dominating the AI space, and they make up almost 40% of the S&P 500. Look, if the AI is in a bubble and that bubble pops, it will affect crypto, and people are worried about that. Now, another thing is the Japan carry trade. Now, Japan just hiked their interest rates, and Japan had near zero or negative interest rates, so people could borrow Japanese money at next to nothing, convert into US dollars, invest in stocks, invest in crypto, whatever, and that added liquidity into the market. And look, some of that liquidity ends up within the base ecosystem, within the Zora ecosystem. So these are things that you don't have to read constantly, but you do need to keep in the back of your mind when making decisions. So VIX, which is the volatility index, is structuring signals and showing suppressed volatility. We see this usually before corrections or explosions in space. But anyway, so Bitcoin, and we'll take a look at the charts. It's been range-bound. And we'll talk about that in just a minute. And the Ethereum weekly resistance is around $3,000 and support around $2,800. And we've talked about that over the last few weeks. But why does all this matter? Because I feel like I'm sitting here teaching economics to history students, and half of them are falling asleep in fourth period. But this matters because if you understand the tone of the macro space, you are going to see what might come next within crypto, because there's two things you all need to understand. Number one, do not fight the Fed. There's a reason that they say that, right? Do not fight the Fed. And on on top of that, not only can we not fight the Fed, we roll with the trend. And once I pull the charts out, you're going to see the trend has not been our friend, because the trend has been down. Literally since the all-time high on Bitcoin at 126, we'd make it all the way down to, let's see, what was that? Around just below, around 80K. Now, that's a 36% decline. That is absolutely crazy. But if you look at the Bitcoin chart, we have been range bound. Basically, if I zoom in on the daily, between 81K, excuse me, I said that wrong. Not 81K, excuse me. On the long term, over the last few weeks, we have been range bound between 81K and 93K. But over the last week, we've literally been range bound between 84K and at the most around 90, not even 91K. We, like, if you notice, we got these massive wicks. What's that on December 17th, December 18th? And we were trying to push above, but like around 90K, 91K, those sold off massively. Whenever you have a large wick on the upside, that is heavy pressure. And then likewise, if you get a heavy wick on the downside, like this one on December 1st, that is a lot of people coming in to buy the dip. But anyway, Bitcoin, I want to go down to the 4-hour chart. You can see on that 4-hour chart, we totally have been range bound. Let me zoom out a little bit. Between 5, let's mark that one, and 88.2, let's say 89. And that's been an excellent range to trade. We have been shorting around 90K. We longed around 84, and I'll show you some of those trades here in just a minute. But the weekly MACD chart, if we go back to the weekly, is totally losing tons of momentum right here. So until we see a bigger capitulation right here, then we might be facing a lot more downtrend. Obviously, that's not going to look good for Zora, but that's why I'm going to be looking at which coins I want to accumulate during this time. But I don't want to rush into that accumulation, although there are some heavy hitters that, and in particular, I'll talk about in just a minute, that I am accumulating a little bit later in the stream today. Now, let's take a look at our next chart, which is Ethereum. As we said, Ethereum weekly resistance is sitting between around this wick right here, which is at 2,800. We'll bring that one down just a little bit so it makes more sense to you. We're still on that weekly chart, and it's a little messy. You can see all my different support and resistance lines here. On the weekly, you can see that the MACD is turned and is still absolutely bearish. So until we get another cross back up, not looking too pretty as far as the crypto market is concerned, which means altcoins are probably bleeding, as we all know. So with the MACD under 0, we got not just weak momentum, but weak volume, right? So what do we do about this, right? We're going to do the same thing we're doing with our Bitcoin trades, right? If I'm looking at ETH, short the market at, or not financial advice, this is what I'm doing. I've been shorting the market when we get up around 3,000 in the market. If we get down around 2,800, we actually keyed in an Ethereum long at, gosh, I can't even remember now, 27.75. That has been an excellent trade, and I'll show you in just a minute. Those of individuals who are already part of my Telegram group, they already knew about this trade before I share them online. Also, if you're on Base app, you've probably seen my Buy the Trade series, and may have seen that same trade over there. But if you want it early, join our Telegram, sign up for our email list. And of course, I'm going to have to put a plug for this too. We just started a new, we haven't made a writer coin yet. I'll let everyone know if we decide to do so, which we probably will in the future. But opened up a paragraph. This is going to become a Substack. Started with our Dad's DeFi Space light paper. So if you want to know our roadmap for Dad's DeFi Space and our token, then please check out the light paper for our creator coin. This is a living document. to our Substack, and you don't miss any updates at all. Anyway, that's enough about Paragraph. Let's move on. Going back to Ethereum, I'm going to tell you something. Yeah, it'll make a lot more sense. Ethereum, bad, let's be honest, but not quite as bad as Bitcoin. I'm actually positioned myself more into Bitcoin more into Ethereum than I have into Bitcoin right now, specifically. Now, this will change. I'm going to be completely honest and clear with everyone out there that if we have a bounce, and when I mean a bounce, I mean Bitcoin shooting back up and having enough momentum to get back up to 100K. If that were to happen, my base case is not that the bull market is still on. This is a bounce, and it will resolve itself possibly into a lower high. I will be going very max short at that point, and I'll be rotating a lot into Bitcoin minus our creator token itself and a few select alts that I'll accumulate during the bear market. And if you watch our channel, I'm sure you know which ones those are right now. Of course, we're keeping an eye to the ground of any new tokens that may come out also. Now, I wanted to show this next chart here. This is the Ethereum Bitcoin chart. So we're looking at the Ethereum chart, but we're going to price the chart in Bitcoin. And I'm going to zoom out on this one, and I'll go back to talk about some market cycle stuff. Oh, and Crypto Mom, thank you so much, because all can do better in this space if we take the time to. It doesn't mean everyone needs to be perfect at doing understanding projects, understanding where the value, where the utility comes from. Maybe you're a trader, maybe you're a builder. It does not matter, but whatever it is, right? Whatever it is, you need to build that edge through better education, trial and error, and approaching this space with good risk management. Now, that's the key, because I'd be the first to say that my risk management wasn't always the best. Now, look, you can see my notation on this chart. It was all the way back in August of 2022, and this was kind of my end of my freshman year into my sophomore year in this space. And I went heavy into altcoins, and you can see exactly what the Ethereum Bitcoin chart did. When this chart's going down, altcoins are bleeding, especially Ethereum betas, right? This chart literally bottomed out like an 80% drop, right? And you can see that downtrend just going on for multiple years, over 2 years. ETH did this to Bitcoin. So you were better off holding Bitcoin than Ethereum this time, unless you were a trader. Right? Unless you are a sly DeFi investor and you're like hopping into different liquidity pools. This degen play over here, low range, automated, you're going out. Like, it's so much work. It can be so much stress unless you have the right knowledge, right? So if you want to gain more knowledge in that, check out our links, which aren't going to be in the live, but will be over on dadsdefispace.org. That is our Web 2 page. So be sure you sign up over there, and also sign up on our Paragraph so you can connect with us on Web 2, Web 3 base. It does not matter, right? Now, I wanted to talk a little bit about this chart, right? As you can see, and we're on the weekly right now, right? I'm keeping an eye on the 0.032 level, right? 0.032 is right about here on the chart. I'm going to mark it with a Y, okay? Now, we wicked into it and touched the line of our channel, but we bounced right back up. As long as we can bounce off of this trend line, even if we're still going down, I'm going to stay more bullish on Ethereum. Right now, again, why I'm ETH heavy, but if we have a further down correction, Bitcoin's going to go suck out all that liquidity, which means Ethereum could go back in its channel around this yellow zone. That's why you would want to do a rotation into Bitcoin if this parabolically goes up, maybe something like this. Let me see if I can pull out my drawing tool. It would be like it goes down, bumps here, goes up, maybe down again, this, right? That's bullish for ETH. Now, if we break below, right? If we were to break below that line, right? Yeah, I made too many marks on my chart. Anyway, Let's just do a different color. If we break below that line, right, it would look something like this. Maybe we hit it, we go up, around, bounce again, but this time we break below. If that happens, we're going to have to attend to this 0.02 level again, more than likely, maybe a little bit higher at 0.023. If that happens, altcoins are going to suffer, not just suffer a little bit. If you think you've watched them bleed, you have not watched them truly bleed if this is your first market cycle, right? So this is an extremely important chart to keep an eye on, because if we break back into this blue trend zone, all going to be wrecked, okay? Coins will be wrecked. Now, the next chart I wanted to look at, total 3. This is a collection of the market cap of the crypto space minus Bitcoin and ETH. So it's all your altcoins, right? As you can see, we are in a massive downtrend. And we wicked all the way down on that huge capitulation event in October, all the way down to about 775 billion. And this is kind of my line in the sand, not for the market cycle. The line in the sand for the market cycle, right, was way here around 500 billion. So here's the scary thing, right? And I hate to sound so negative on this stream, but this part right here, which is around 600 billion, that's our floor. This is where we parabolically, that's not a word, went up and just annihilated Bitcoin. And altcoins started performing more. So we are getting close back down into that area. We wicked down to about $800 billion. And I will not be bullish on the altcoin market unless we were able to get back above $1 trillion market cap on total 3. If you look at the MACD, you can see it's extremely bearish. It's been bearish since, well, October in that capitulation event. And again, to review some of the stuff we talked about before we get to some of the altcoin meta today. Number 1, Bitcoin has been in a downtrend. ETH has been in a downtrend. Both right now, though, there's not a lot of volume. They have been range bound, and that is why it's been great for providing liquidity, great for shorting and longing if you can scalp. Now, understand scalping, extremely risky. You better know what you're doing or you're going to get liquidated, right? But if you're interested in following or learning things like that, you can join our free Telegram group. And then I can also pass you a link if you want to send me a DM, help support the channel, trade with me on Layer Bank, 15% off your futures by using our link. Of course, once this is uploaded on YouTube, there'll be a link in the description. Thank you for supporting the channel. And then finally, has anyone looked at the unemployment rate? It has been going up. Right now, the unemployment rate is sitting at 4.6%, right? The unemployment rate going up. The stock market and commodities, everything but crypto has been going up parabolically, including, well, last year, home prices, right? Even though the Fed has gone into QT, technically, QE, the policy is still restrictive, even though we're adding more money to the system. And historically, Bitcoin tends to bottom after the labor stress and after the aggressive monetary easing. You got to give time for that liquidity to circle in the market. Maybe we're in a bear market from now until the end of the summer or something, or into the next, November. That's almost a year. If that were to happen, we're going to hit lower lows, much lower lows. But we also didn't get that parabolic top. And I've heard other influencers talk about this online, but without the parabolic top, we don't have all that scared retail to buy high and sell low, which causes the huge altcoin capitulations after previous bull runs. So maybe, just maybe, the bear is going to be quite as bad this time, but that doesn't mean that Bitcoin can't still go down another 30% or ETH 40%. And you do not want to be heavy in a lot of those plays at that moment unless you are planning on accumulating, for the next cycle. But understand that even during a bearish time in the cycle, that does not mean that we don't have moves we can make, because you can make money when the market's going up. You can also make money when the market's going down if you know what you're doing. You can do that with DeFi lending. We can do that with trading, et cetera, right? So you stayed with the stream this long. We're going to now look at some altcoin charts. This is one of my favorite parts. I kind of have a plan of what I wanted to look at today. Excuse me. And we are going to, with Arrow, hold on one second. So the first one I want to take a look at, since we're going to look at some Ethereum beta plays before I get into some of the more risky stuff. We're taking a look at Aerodrome Finance right now. As you can see, Aerodrome Finance has been one of our big plays this market cycle. You can see that we are back towards our initial pump. The very first heavy weak pump that Aero had when it went from a few cents to 50 cents, literally we're back at 49 cents right now. So if you're bullish on Aero, there couldn't be a better time to accumulate. But if we are to break this 50 cents level and not get back above over a few weeks like we did right here, that could be extremely bearish. We could literally go back down. Our next spot we would revisit is probably around 30 cents on Aerodrome. But if we have a bounce up here, we could easily bounce back up to 74, 75 cents. And then once we clear this range and get support here, it's basically clear selling all the way to $1.10. And we even wicked up to $1.20. So going down on a little bit slower time frame on the daily, you can see Aero has been bleeding heavily, right? Over the last month, Aero literally has dropped about 64%, but that's all right because we sold a ton up here and we keep farming more Aero, adding to our bags. So Aero is a position I'm bullish on. They are the liquidity hub of the base network, and I am extremely bullish on Aerodrome. So yes, it doesn't look good right now, but I am buying when blood is in the streets. There's some blood in the streets right now, ladies and gentlemen. Now, let's take a look at our next chart. This is Solana, and I wanted to show you one of my trades. Now, on the Solana chart, you can see that this chart has looked absolutely terrible, right? As soon as we broke this trend line, right? Now, I want to go on the weekly because I think this will make more sense. Now, I have a few things marked on this chart, all right? Oh, we're on the Sol ETH chart, excuse me. I meant to put up the Sol USD chart. I thought something didn't look right. All right, anyway, we a Solana short when Solana hit around $129, about right here on the chart. We broke our range right here, as you can see, right? And that was around 127. So I've been shorting Solana between 126, 129. And now we're in this new range that is 110 to about 127. So we'll be shorting all the way down to 110. Although I'm going to take some profits if we get back down here around 117, 118. We have already swung this trade twice in here. Our entry is a little bit lower than 129 right now. Let's take a look at that trade. Hold on, that is not the right side. Sorry. There we go. And if you take a look at this Solana trade, once it loads up, right, it's 34 Solana that we're shorting. Liquidation price is 149. We're up right now about 43%, although we've been up as high as 150, around $100 profit. And we're going to ladder that one out. We'll probably, that's the Bitcoin chart. We'll take some Solana profit if we get back down around 124.35. That's on the short time frame. If we look at the 4 hour, if we get back down to say 123, it took a bounce there. Our next one around 121, 119, and 117. And I'll probably just scalp little bits of profit as we make our way back down. Solana has not been looking good, although I do have to point this out. If you were to go on Orca, and I just wrote an article on this on our webpage, and I know this isn't about Base, but I don't just play around on one blockchain, although the majority of my play time is on Base and Zora. Also do a little bit of liquidity provided on Solana. The Sol USDC pair gets traded a lot. I mean, right now I'm earning 10% a month, right? And this one's earning 50% a month on trading fees. These have been quite lucrative. And then we just convert our yield back into USDC or use it to pay down loans that we have, right? This is a smaller portfolio, but it's been performing quite well. Look, these 365 yields are literally like 215%, 80%, 90%, 100%. These are excellent yields if you know how to mitigate the impermanent loss. I'll be making some videos of that in the near future. But if you're interested in that, I have a free DeFi course available. If you're willing to read some articles, go through some videos on our webpage at dadsdefispace.org. Go check that out. But going back to the Solana chart, I personally think we can provide liquidity between a range of around, like right now, a very tight range. If I go down to the 4 hour, and we already did this. I wish this is not the right chart though. Hold on a second. Give us this one. It was a Binance chart. Where's it? I thought it was the Coinbase one. I guess I took it down. Anyway, if you take a look at, see if it's on, if I did this on Blowfin. No. Or Layer Bank. No. All right. Anyway, back to the Solana chart. As you can see right here, this has been an awesome short, and we may make our way down here. At least I sure hope so, because it will print. And if it gets way back down low again, below 120, we'll probably send a little bit of a long. It can work as a hedge, tight stop loss, and go from there. Now, let's go to the next one. I wanted to take a look at the Tau chart. You know, that's our big AI play. But I wanted to go take a look at some of our trades over on Blowfin, one of my small accounts. But on Blowfin, you can see we have this juicy, nice ETH long we took. 146% profit. I've already taken like half my profit out of this, close to $600-700. That's how I can help support some of the creators I like. But trade on Blowfin, excellent. We had our entry just below 3,000. I still think it's a good entry until this range changes. So we're going to keep an eye on that over the next little bit. But let's take a look at Tau. Tau has looked terrible. Absolutely. We broke our range down a long time ago. We kind of created this base that we also broke through. This was big time, guys. And that was right around 163 to say 150. If you go wider and back on a chart, that's kind of where they came up here. We have another area that we're touching right now around 120. If we break this, it could be really bad. You're looking at like 185, 186. I'm still accumulating Tau. I do think this one have its chance once the market gets bullish again. So it's one of the few altcoins that I am still like accumulating a little bit. Enough about Tau. I just wanted to show you some of the parts I'm looking at. 265 pivot low, got this pivot high around 538, and then range, if we can get back above here, you're looking at about 315, 317. These are just how I kind of look at charts for trading, looking for where the support and resistance is, right? That looks really good, actually. Not the chart, but support and resistance lines. So we're going to save this one for later on the daily. And as you can see, the MACD on daily is going bearish again. That's not a good sign. So hopefully Tau starts to make a comeback or come around at some point in the near future. Now let's take a look at what everyone's been waiting for. By the way, I'm almost completely out of virtuals at this point. Still have some Ondo, but let's look at Zora. And I've marked all the fib levels on my Zora chart of Zora seemed to respect the fib levels a little bit, so I am going to use them a lot on this chart. As you can see, we bottomed out around 0.037. This would have been an excellent long to take right there, which we got in around 0.038. I wish I could show you that trade. I think it was on Layer Bank. Let me check my history real quick. I don't mind if you see my goods and my bads, right? There we go. 174, 173, 175%. We took some profit on that one. But where did we enter? It was like 0.038 and then taking most of our profit at 0.042. If you take a look at the Layer Bank chart, you can see, let's check Zora real quick. You can see I got it marked here. Take a short at 0.044, 43, 45. Long in below 0.042. When we were below 0.04, I was like, man, this is going to be excellent to short Zora. So what's in the near future? It's hard to say, right? We're kind of fighting to stay above this 0.0429. Maybe we can head back up and get back into the 5-cent range, into this zone, which is a much better place for us to be. We want to be in this upper area on the Zora chart, which, going back to TradingView, that would be between below the 0.23 fib level all the way down to the 0.16 level. So we're watching 0.048, 0.052, and then if we were to ever break and get support above 0.062, it's off to the races. We could literally rocket up to like 0.78 or the one level all the way at 12 cents, which would be amazing. But I'm not holding my breath on this one. I just find these as excellent times to accumulate. Now, I'm not actively accumulating Zora. I do have my fees. We do farm them over on BFAT. I wrote an article about this, and I'm going to be uploading a pre-made video on Zora. It's already on YouTube if you want to go check it out. And this is our creator coin portfolio. It's about almost back in range. We're still down a little bit because of the dip in the market from the other day, but we got Zora wrapped ETH around a little over $400, earning 214% a day. We got a Jesse wrapped ETH, which is way down, but we'll just hold on to this, and when it skyrockets back up, we can exit out of the pool, have some extra, convert it to USDC, save it for drop powder, whatever. And then I've been having a ton of luck farming Docker. So shout out Docker. Thank you for this pool on Aerodrome, this 0.9%. It has been juicy at around 1,000% APR, making about $5 a day on $176. I may add some more capital to this, but this is a low volume pool. I can't put a ton of capital in it, but I can put some capital in it. It's only around $5,000. But it's very similar to what we have created for ourselves. We have a $500 pool on Aerodrome, although I'm running mine at 0.3%, full range, not concentrated such as this one, but this yield farm has been awesome. And I've been just trading that range back and forth, earning that yield, converting to USDC. And this is how I've actually been funding most of my creator coin portfolio. So something to think about in the near term and the late term. So the riskiest position here is probably Jesse and Docker, although actually Docker's been performing better than Jesse, at least recently. And then the Zora wrapped ETH is just to get kind of a beta on the entire ecosystem. But this whole portfolio I'm converting to USDC because, well, it's bearish times, and collect dry powder for those market dips, right? That's how you accumulate more. This is how you play the game right. Now, finally, the last thing I wanted to show you in today's stream before we go over everything is I wanted to show you our USDC Dad's DeFi Space Vault. Now, this vault got hit hard with an Avantis position during the October downtrend. I'm going to go into our USDC vault, and you can see that we got some positions out of range right now, so we really need to work on this one. I'll work on it later, but you can see the virtual's down $100. This one's down 60. The Zora one's actually been doing pretty good, earning great yield. We'll need to harvest that, but because of that downtrend, and I had a couple grand in here, we're down almost $600. So until the market gets back up, this isn't going to look much better. We will be rebalancing and reviewing these positions over the next 48 hours, and I'll probably write an article on what we do with the Dad's DeFi Space USDC fund. But with the market down this low, would not be a bad time to add capital into this. What I like about the crystal vaults is that anyone can add capital into my USDC Dad's DeFi Space fund, and they earn a percentage of the yield that I make, and I get a percentage also. I have had people in and out of this before, especially when during the bull, when it was performing a little bit better. But the Avantis is a great example of how impermanent loss, when you're providing liquidity, can really wreck a portfolio. Which, if you're going to do creator coins, you need to look into this a little bit because, well, as your coin gets bigger, you're probably going to have to learn how to establish your own liquidity pools. But that is a subject for another day. So, final thing I wanted to talk about today is we're going to look at this Zora ecosystem a little bit. Now, you're looking at the chart of Dad's DeFi Space. Our token has been performing quite well, right? We have around 95 holders, 96 holders right now. As you can see, market cap of around 23.5 is a great base for our token, as you can see here on the chart. We're sitting at 24.3 right now. We were down at 23.5 earlier, and as you can see, the sniper bots buy me up when we get down around 23.5. Maybe we should think the same as the bots, right? And then they've been selling a lot once this gets up to like 25.6 or 27. look, I'm not going to hate you if you sell a little bit of my token. It just gives other people a chance to get a better entry. But what I want to see is that we keep forming a base right here, right? And I'll keep you all posted on it. This is on the hourly chart. But really quite bullish. Excuse me, our project, which of course we're biased, right? Now, I wanted to share some of my favorite token holdings within the Zora ecosystem before we look at some of the trending charts. Now, some of my are topped in FT on the blue chips. Shout out to 8-Bit Base. His 8-Bit art has been awesome, and he does nothing but create and build. These are the kind of coins that I want to hold. One of my biggest plays right now is Mr. Lightspeed. Love it. And he has been creating such great content. Mr. Lightspeed is someone who is in it to win it and in it for the long haul. Yes, the token pumps sometimes. So, of course, like when it got this high, we took some profit. But it looks like we're developing a bottom range around 400K to around 400K. So I think it's an excellent opportunity to accumulate, but we're going to have to wait and see what occurs over the next little bit. Just something to think about, right? But he has had some great content coming out. We're going to look at that in just a minute. So right now, some of the top volume, this one is a sell volume, right? I saw this one circulated yesterday. Basis for everyone knows that one. Mr. Lightspeed's in the rain. This one has done really, really well. Just a personal, very kind of vulnerable photograph. We loved it. We can see pump like crazy. I love getting in on some of his stuff early. This is the one that I feel like after Gollum got it all started, Lightspeed to the moon. Now this one it had a huge sell-off and has been consolidating, but we want to see this daily grind going up just a little bit at a time. That's good. That shows that the public is bullish, right? I see it, Segs. I'll check Segs token after the stream. We'll check that out too. Anyway, loving what Speed is creating. So that is an account. Like I said, him and Docker are my big players. Of course, I have a little bit of Jesse, but I like to farm Jesse. There's so much trading volume with that, right? Now, obviously, you see the top market cap is Bases for Everyone, Base Shake, which is Brian Armstrong, and then you can see some others here, right? Some are mostly the posts, not actual content coins. The post gets paired with the content coin, and the coin gets paired with Zora. Just something to think about if you decide to play around this space. Now, I did want to take a look at Dad's DeFi space on the week. You can see we've been a little bit in a downtrend. We made a lower high at 26. Our peak was 28.5. So we're going to have to keep this out. Like I said, base at around 23.5. So if we go below that, I'm going to be buying the crap out of myself personally. But anyway, maybe one day I'll be shorting and longing myself on futures exchanges. Who knows? All right. Now, if anyone has anything else to add, let me know in the comments. I only have one person on the stream anyway. Hope you enjoyed it. But going back to what we started with, right? Going back to what we started with. You do realize the macro, even though the stock market has been extremely bullish, fear and greed are in the 20s. That means retail, maybe even more than retail, they are scared right now. So honestly, ladies and gentlemen, Zora creators and bots, crypto is in a macro, constrained, fearful consolidation period. The headlines might be screaming alt season to you, probably not. But until ETH is really leading again and Bitcoin breaks those key resistant levels we discussed, all this is just noise. Stay focused. Watch the charts and focus on your conviction plays. Don't chase hype, right? So if you're truly serious about staying ahead of the crypto market, please subscribe and turn on the notifications. I'll break it down like this every single week. Drop your Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Zora predictions, any altcoin charts you'd like to see for the next market update. Let's see who gets it right. And look, if you found value, a like really goes a long way. Check out Dad's DeFi Space on Web 2 and Web 3. Join the free Telegram group. Check out our links from Layer Bank and Blowfin if you're interested in trading. In fact, we're going to be opening up a premium signals group. Actually, it's already open, the beta version. If you're interested in following my moves, trades, and liquidity plays before I talk about them on here, it's going to be a new freemium group. All you have to do is sign up for one of my affiliate exchanges. I'd be happy to onboard you. Just send a DM to me on Telegram, DadDeFi1013, or purchase some Dad's DeFi Space. Send me a message on Zora. Find me on the Base app or on X at CryptoZone1013. So again, stay focused, watch the charts, but go outside and touch some grass today. And happy holidays and Merry Christmas to everybody out there.
Jingle bell,